What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Knights of Teleria, and thank you for joining us. Today, we have a fun and exciting episode planned for you. We're going to have some discussion, and then, maybe me and Julie might discuss some banter. But let me introduce everybody that we have today. We have to my right is Mr. JR Star 3. Jay, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing swell on this lovely Sunday. Just another day in the news. We're getting ready into it.
Nice, nice. Then we have the one, the only, Nacho. Nacho, how are you doing?
I am living someone's dream every day.
Just a curiosity, whose dream are you living?
Somebody's, right?
Somebody.
I don't think many of us are actually living our dream yet, Like we still have aspirations for our future, but I'm sure somebody out there in the world would kill to be me. Absolutely. So, somebody's dream.
Well, I mean, I could say somebody out there would definitely love your account. But yeah, all right. So we're gonna, start off the usual way where I'm gonna ask you guys our weekly question, and this week's question is: doing live arena, who is the champion you hate going up against the most? Let's start off with Jay. I think Jay's experiencing a little bit of lag. So let's go Tuli. Nacho.
With just random champs like maybe Rotos, things like that.
Restart that, Jay. You're a little laggy.
We heard Rotos.
I heard Rotos, yeah.
Yeah, I was saying Taras and Marishka. Pretty much like them, the couple, and then like random champions like UDK and Rotos. Like just they're not like super annoying, but it just happens like sometimes you're like, oh my god, that person's like super geared and they just blow everybody up. I'm like, oh god.
Okay, so who's your number one though?
I mean, there's always a counter to everybody. I mean, I guess Taras would be number one.
Taras. Okay. Okay. Nacho, what about yourself?
Odds Taras hands down. He is the tankiest champion in the game. He's the hardest hitting champion in the game, and you can't make him do less damage.
Exactly.
Like every other champion in the game, you can make them do less damage. You can't make Terrace do less damage. He just does that much damage. It's so stupid.
Okay. So for me, honestly, the worst one is Helicath. I hate him because they pair him with UDK and he just counterattacks, and it's like, granted, he's not like the best damage dealer, but little by little he'll wear your team down, and he just becomes so annoying, especially because I have a double Taras that I use. So and then you really can't counter him, especially when they bring in the UDK with a Rotos, and you're only left with
because Ukko was a fusion, right?
Yes, but 9 times out of 10 they usually like ban her right away. They literally, I've had matches where I bring the duo in Ukko, and then I'll bring in Necra with whatever my third damage dealer.
There's your problem.
And I got to bring Necra in to protect my squishy. Because I bring in Georgie.
You just said you're using 2 Terrace.
Well, you can't. I'm in gold. I'm in gold arena for live arena, so it's not that easy for me. But they literally ban the Ukko almost every time.
You have to bring in 2 solutions to the champions you want to counter. Yeah, and then you build. Yeah. If you don't ever change anything, and then you say, "Yeah, man, Helicath counters me," he's probably always gonna counter you.
Yeah, he's just very, very annoying. I can't. just not what I want. Not what I want. But welcome to the stream, Long T. Thank you for joining us. So let's move on to today's show. What are we going to be talking about? Give everybody a little bit of a breakdown. We're gonna discuss the RTAC path, right? That we had. We're gonna talk about the new fusion, and we're gonna touch in a little bit about the clan boss. And actually, I think I want to start with the clan boss one because this is a huge improvement for a lot of players, right? But there's a caveat. We have to be able to one key the clan boss on every affinity. So, and then I have a theory of something that might be happening because I don't know if Plarium released it or is going to release it properly. But let me ask you guys, are you yay, nay for this new feature? Thule, go ahead.
Oh, absolutely excited. They're all about incentivizing participation. So I think this falls right in line with what they've been trying to do for a long time in the game, is just make people build good teams and make the people that built good teams feel rewarded for building them, right? So a lot of times they've done that either through just your time save, mainly, right? That's like the main incentive in the game, is to make your runs quicker so you spend less time in the game. Sure, that's just like one of the things that they do. So people have always just strive for that if they're a serious player, or a more high-end player, or have a few extra things, or have enough to go over the top. And I think it's nice to bring clan boss finally more in line with that, right? Clan boss has changed a lot as the game has developed, right, as well.
Yep.
When it first started off, we didn't quite have speed tuning like we do now. We didn't have unkillables quite like we do now either. There's a lot more champions that do all of that, right? We have a lot more options to sustain. We have blessings. Like, getting to a one key now is nowhere near the achievement it was on the day it released, right? It's like a 10% of the achievement, if that. At this point, it's a given. You have to do this to get your account even in a workable position. So I'm glad that they are incentivizing, actually pushing for that one key damage and allowing people to make a bigger time save out of it as well. So I think it's great.
Okay. Jay, what about you?
I am noticing a little bit on my side. I'm sorry.
The lag, yeah.
Yeah. Just a wee bit.
The game. I think it's.
Why not restart that, Jay? Restart that.
Someone says something very interesting, like in my chat, was like, how much longer do you think raid has? Because eventually everything is going to become full auto and be able to just everything's just completion. So then what do you really play? You just do arena. Which is, I mean, if that's supposed to be the future, then that is. But there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I realized where else can we get? It's like they try to get us based on time, like playing the game more longer, and if you don't want to play, you have to spend. But once you have everything fully completing, what ends up happening? You just complete everything? Do you even farm? So it was very interesting when someone said that to me. But I think it's an amazing feature, and we should have it a long time ago. But whatever.
So I mean, I like it. I do see some good and bad with it. But for the most part, I mean, it is going to make everybody focus on getting that one key Ultra Nightmare, just so you can fully just do it. I mean, they haven't. It looks like they're just going to randomize what you get for damage. But here's my concern, right?
That's not how that's working at all. They're not just randomizing your damage. They are running the 50 turns that your team does, or they are running your team to completion. They are not randomizing damage, to be clear.
Well, so how are they gonna do, I mean, okay, so I guess it's gonna run in the background while I'm able to do other things.
No. Programming doesn't. The only reason it takes as much time as it does is because they added animations to everything. A computer can calculate your 50 turns in less than a second, dude. Are you kidding me? Like, it could just done.
Okay.
Like, it's not a thing.
So okay, because that was what my biggest worry was, is, is it going to randomize how much damage my team does? Because I mean, there is some heavy RNG, right? Sometimes I can crit, sometimes I can't crit, and so that makes my team fluctuate. Like you could see my team right now that I'm currently running, is right here. I just do the Mythicomp with for my Nightmare team, or my Ultra Nightmare team. I do about 82 million, depending on the affinity. Right. So my worry was, is it going to randomize? Is it going to get me like that one time where I'm just shy of one key? Because sometimes I hit like 72, 73 million. But that was kind of my biggest worry. Then the next thing is I still don't feel like it solves the solution for a lot of the players. I mean, looking at this, how many players are actually at the stage where they have a one key Ultra Nightmare team? They can clear every affinity, and I'm willing to bet probably 70% of the player base at least doesn't have that kind of a team, so they don't get this upgrade. They're still going to have to.
I think 70% of the player base isn't even out of Bronze Arena.
Exactly.
You know that, right? No. Like, the player base in which we actually care about is about 5% of the real players in the game. You understand that, right?
But
all of the content that we talk about is about 5% of the total players that ever play this game and will ever reach a point that is relevant.
I
You
guess,
understand?
but okay.
So
Again,
every single thing that they introduce, 95% of players will never see it. Is my point. Okay,
well, is that because
so of our 5% of players of the people in our community, I know significantly more people that can one key clan boss with completely untuned teams than can't. Like, by drastic margins. Out of the 250 people in my cluster Discord, there's probably 30 that can't one key clan boss.
Okay. But so the 220 that are going to get that perk, is it fair for the other 30? Like, I mean, absolutely. A lot of it, but how? I mean, it can be gated because they might not have the champs, they might not have the gear, but they've been playing for enough time.
Because they need to give a reason to do these things at all. If you could just instant a 2 key every day, nobody would ever change their team. Okay?
Well, yeah,
Raid's whole point is to build a team to beat content, build another team to beat it faster. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is completely in line with everything that they're trying to do. They want to incentivize participation on every level. Okay, so if you de-incentivize, they absolutely are. You talk about the rewards for any of the tournaments, any of the events that they've done. They are very clear that are on the fence that they want people to participate for reward, and that is true with every single game. So having a standard to unlock the feature isn't terrible at all. I don't think it's an unreachable bar to get to.
I don't disagree with you that having a standard is a bad thing, but a one key as a standard, I think that's the problem.
On any difficulty. No. So you're totally wrong, because they could one key Nightmare but not one key Ultra Nightmare, and they can still instant Nightmare and Brutal.
Facts.
Like, it's not just because you can't one key Ultra Nightmare does not mean you do not have access to this feature whatsoever.
So, wait a minute. The way I read it and understood it is you have to that level needs to be able to be one keyed by that team.
on Nightmare or Brutal, which is also another difficulty outside of Ultra Nightmare. So if you can't kill one key Ultra Nightmare yet, now you have a reason to stretch your legs to do that.
Right. But for me to be able to unlock that one key for me to be able to unlock that feature on Ultra Nightmare, I have to beat Ultra Nightmare. I can't be let's say Brutal and then work for Ultra Nightmare.
So
but that's what but if the team is doing a 2 key on Ultra Nightmare, a 1 key on Nightmare, he's still, or the average player is still going to have to spend an extra 20 minutes to do those,
and they saved
keys.
20 minutes and they saved half their time still. So what's the problem?
From what? From Nightmare?
From Nightmare and Brutal. They had to run 2 more keys too.
I don't know, man. I'm curious to hear what the community thinks, what the viewers think, but I think the 1 key sentiment of just being able to 1 key, I think that was too much. I think it should have been a 2 key, at least for Nightmare.
I've not heard one complaint, not a single complaint from my 40 daily viewers, the 250 people in my Discord, any chat that I go into on Twitch, I have not heard one person say, "Oh man, I can't hit that yet. That sucks. That's a shit feature." Not one. Literally, they're all like, "Oh man, I hope I get this champion so I can get it now."
Yes,
you know what I mean? The mentality is not negative towards it. They are just more hopeful that they can get there in the future, which is good. We have people incentivized to play the game for a longer amount of time. And I'm like, overwhelming majority are like this. Not only that, but they are releasing this fusion that literally does it for you.
Yeah. I love the look on your face.
So, no, I do not think that it's any stretch or out of line whatsoever.
I mean, again, everybody's got their own opinion. Jay, you're being kind of silent there in the corner. Why don't you throw some gloves in and let us know what your thoughts are on it?
Honestly, I mean, no.
Without the lag.
One day he'll get there. One day he'll get there. I just see it.
Jay, do you want to take a second and restart to see if you can get rid of that lag?
That heat really affecting the internet waves coming in.
Yeah. I mean, he said it was like 90 something there.
Like, you have to, because even if someone went to make, before it was just like a dream, but now it looks like a reality that they just want the specific champ they can build to actually do it. So it gives incentivized to make those players either mid late game to want a 1 key instead of it being, I gotta waste tons of resources. There's a reason now. So.
Okay, now go ahead and repeat all of that because you lagged through half of that.
Oh,
it just said it all in like 10, like.
But basically, more of the story is that most players, right, have a big incentive, like Nacho said, to actually do it instead of being forced themselves. The game is like, I have to play the game and I get rewarded for it. So they're happy about that. No one's complaining about it. I haven't seen not one person complain. So.
Yeah, I'm not saying that anybody is complaining.
You literally said that 70% of the community won't.
That is my sentiment. Listen, that is my sentiment. A lot of my viewers, some of them are endgame, but there's a lot more, especially lately, that have all been newcomers to the game that have been playing for, 6 months, maybe a year. And one of the biggest things I get asked is the clan boss, and they need help with Ultra Nightmare. And their teams are like 3 or 4 key, and they're trying to move into that 2 key, 1 key territory. And so that's why I'm looking at it, and I'm like, well, this isn't really helping those guys. Yes, it's helping me. It's going to reduce my time. It's going to reduce my time that I have to, spend in game doing my 3 accounts on the clan boss by just autoing it, instantaneously. But, like Steven's account that I'm currently working on, he doesn't have the gear. He's got the team to do the 1 key, but he doesn't have the gear yet. And so for somebody like that, he's still going to have to spend the better part of, almost an hour doing all the keys for Clan Boss. He 2 keys Ultra Nightmare, 1 keys Nightmare, 1 keys Brutal, but he's still going to have to spend almost an hour every day just on Clan Boss. So that's what I'm trying to say. Well, about an hour, depending. No, it's going to be like 35, 40 minutes. So, but yeah,
The other
Sacrifiction,
issue is
welcome to the
like
stream.
how fast you can move from the point in which you're 4-keying, because you were 1-keying Nightmare before, so you were getting total advantage in seeing 0 time in the game from Clan Boss up until you moved to Ultra Nightmare, right? So now you have to progress your team again, right?
Yeah.
How long is that time? That's the real question, because that's the only amount of time in which your situation is really poor. You know what I mean? And it gets better the better their team gets. Okay? Once they move into a 3-key, now they just do 3 keys and they've eliminated 15 minutes of their day, and they just auto 1 key on Nightmare. Once they move into a 2-key, they've shaved another 15 minutes. And those positions are not that far apart. Like, once you're into Ultra Nightmare, you've already met your champion requirements. You have the gear to survive a non-zero amount of turns. You know what I mean? Like, the gap to get from 4-key to 3-key to 2-key to 1-key is pretty small each one of the ways. So as you make that progression, you feel rewarded for it.
Yeah. Again, I mean, my like I said, my sentiment is that it's great for the end game players. It's great for the players that have been playing for the time or that have willed out to, you know, make sure that those teams, that they can get those teams. And I just feel like it's leaving the player base that can't get to that, you know, 1 key because they're short just, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 million. Like I seen it all the time. Like one of my viewers being useless every day. We started from like a 50 million team, and he's now moved up to, he's just shy of like 2 or 3 million damage to be a 1 key, and he's still gonna have to run 2 keys every day until he can get this done, right? And yes, I know that the fusion is going to make it a little bit better for everybody. But again,
Well,
it's what?
sorry. I didn't. It's just like people can also look. If this is a discussion I was having with somebody earlier today. So the game gates you on how to get power, right? Like the different ways that you can play the game is how you can get power. Okay, flat out. You do this, you get power. You do that, you get power. But it costs you something. Faction Wars costs you daily keys. Doom Tower costs you daily keys. Dungeons cost you your energy. Area bonus costs you time.
Yes.
So, for people in even low account situations, they can get into that, get those extra stats for free. And I think that is something that a lot of people aren't putting the effort into, is expanding their ways to get power. Okay, in the mid game especially, like even progressing a lot of your faction wars up to the second boss, stuff like that. Like they don't require a lot of resources. You can just do it with one champion. You don't have to 3-star the stages. You just need to kill the stage. You can increase the amount of power that you're getting from glyphs. If every single piece you had a +2 speed, +5 accuracy, stuff like that, your builds just come down. And so I think a lot of people that are struggling in those positions just need to focus a lot more on a lot of these areas that are being provided to us now. Even low level Sand Devil and Shogun are providing an extra glyph on every single piece of gear. If you can get tier 1 oils, you know what I mean? If you can clear any single stage, you can ascend a piece of gear up to 2. That's as good as a glyph on every single piece of gear. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people should just start exploring more of those avenues and min-maxing a little bit more what they can get, instead of saying, well, I can't. Because I feel like a lot of times they may not know either what they could do. I think that is a perfectly valid excuse, especially the earlier you are. Like maybe you don't understand stat distribution and how to actually push these stats and stuff like that, right? So you need some help getting there, and that's fine. But I think a lot of people also just like shrug things off. Look at I think the negative mentality towards live arena is a primo example. Like the content is great, people are not complaining about the rewards, right? Like basically whatever, like at all. The problem with live arena is their participation and how effective they are, right? So those are more of the problems. If you can just figure out how to be somewhat effective to a certain degree, you can get those rewards. And so I think just more people need to do that.
Listen, I mean, what you're saying is right, but we got to realize that a lot of the things you can do in this game are either gated by champs, right? I mean, for Sand Devils, early on, yes, you can do it with just about anybody, but trying to get anything past the second level, it's going to get you very minimal and minuscule returns, right? That's the way I see it. It doesn't really come up until you get further up, right? Until you start clearing 24, 25. That's when you start getting the bigger upgrades. And the same thing as for the new dungeon that they just released, the Shogun. I mean, honestly, I think the rewards for the upgrading the gear, the only thing that is worth it is the neck piece. Other than that, I think everything else is crap, because what are you going to get?
24 accuracy is crap? How's 24 accuracy crap?
How much accuracy am I going to need?
Okay.
As an end game player,
we have PvE content that requires 550 accuracy, and we're getting Ultra Nightmare Hydra.
Okay. Can you not build a champion with 600 accuracy and 250 speed?
Can you build a champion with 320 speed, 500 accuracy, and crit damage? That's what I want to know.
320 speed? Yeah. Yep. Is it? Can I get a +4 Yumiko?
No, baseline. These are the stats that they're gonna start requiring out of us. Is my point. Well, we have hard mode 20s coming. We hard 10 is not where it stops.
Oh, I know. It's gonna be like hard 25.
We have another 10 stages probably. We have Ultra Nightmare Hydra to come. We have another clan boss to come.
I hear you, but look, I mean,
so I completely disagree.
The accuracy check for me, I mean, we can disagree all we want, but the 24 accuracy isn't really worth it for me.
So 7 crit, what's it? 7 crit damage, 12 crit damage?
12 crit damage. 12 crit damage is really worth it, because that's about the only thing.
How many rolls is 12 crit damage?
Depending on the piece, it's 2.
It's 2. How many rolls is 24 accuracy?
2.
3.
No, it's 2.
Yep, it's 3. What's the range on an accuracy roll on a 6-star piece? The max is a 9.
No, I thought no.
Yep.
Wait a minute.
It's a 9. Even if it's 10, it's 2.5 rolls. And that's if you max roll it. The value in which you get accuracy outweighs crit damage. You can build accuracy and build 12 more crit damage elsewhere. But however, you get both. You don't have to trade off. You just get both.
So on this piece right here, I've got 28.
So you're saying the lower value stat is worth it. Meanwhile, the higher value stat that would let you build more of the stat that you care about, crit damage, isn't worth it?
Not. I mean, you can only get it on the banner.
Right, so you get both. That's my point. So now in your substats on your other pieces that you care about, you no longer have to build accuracy. You could build crit damage in 3 rolls. Right?
Yes. Okay.
Yes. So this is my point. So you're saying crit damage is the only one worth doing. Meanwhile, accuracy has higher value and attack has higher value than the crit damage does. You can't scale your crit damage unless you have the attack to scale it. You understand that, right?
I do. But for me, I find the crit damage is worth the more than anything else. And you know, that's
the point. The accuracy lets you build more crit damage elsewhere.
Yes.
That's the whole point.
That's why we focus accuracy first in the Great Hall.
I don't think I did that. But
accuracy has insanely more value than crit damage does in the Great Hall. 80 accuracy versus 20 crit damage. You're talking about 12 rolls versus 2.5.
I mean, well, okay, all right, all right. Sacrificial's right, to each their own. Ray, welcome to the stream, man. Thank you for joining us. It really is. For me, the way I look at it is accuracy. Well, let me rephrase. The major thing that I've been doing now is Plat Arena, right? And we know with Plat Arena, putting accuracy on champions, depending on, what your opponent has with blessings. And that's kind of the way I proceed things. In early game, it's really not a huge thing, because as long as you have, if you're beating level 20 dungeons, you really need like 2 to 250 accuracy, which, you're not going to get the 24 accuracy if you're not doing stage, 25 Shogun, right?
However, you can get an extra glyph on your gear. If you take it to 2, that's the same as putting a 4-star or 5-star glyph on your piece. So
okay.
that was the argument with the lower levels. And then if you do that for every single piece, you're talking about crit rate on your gloves, speed on your boots, defense, HP, attack on your chest, flat stats on all of the top row. Like, you can scale your champion with 7 glyphs, 9 glyphs.
Fair enough. But I mean, getting us back to the original point. Well, by the way, Jay, do you have anything you want to throw in this? You want to throw some punches?
Yes, I just one thing, if I don't lag. My main thing I want to say, to your point, and let me know if I do, is pretty much, you were saying that this whole thing about Ultra Nightmare clan bosses, new players, mid players won't be able to do it. Honestly, there's so many things in the game. It's like what Nacho's saying. You just have to invest your energy, which is going to give you the best power, the best return. So if you guys remember Christian, by the way, am I still here?
Yes, you're still fine.
If you guys remember Christian, he was a free-to-play player who went from content creator to content creator getting help. Within like 5 months, the guy was already past Nightmare. Most players can't do that. So sometimes it's not even the resource, it's the knowledge of people who are higher up, who know how to play the game, can actually coach you and get you to where you need to be. Most players just follow videos or whatever Plarium tells them to do, which is wrong, and they end up failing and having to either be behind months or having to spend money. But so I understand what you're saying, Blaine, like that it's like, well, we wanted to make it easier because it's a newer generation, new people coming in the game, new players. We want it to be easier for it to get to where we're at in the game. But life's not like that. Like, raid's kind of like life. It's hard. You have to like overcome all these obstacles, and if you work hard towards it and you prioritize the right things, you will get a good return. So that's all I can say, is that I do think there's a lot of things in the game now, even though it might not be as accessible as compared to other people, you can still work towards it, and eventually you'll get there. Reaper of Kings was only able to do Dragon 20. He's on hard Dragon within a day. Within a day. I took over his count, boom, we're there. And he's been pushing from like stage 3, trying to get to 10. But of course his champions in his Great Hall not there. And Clan Boss, he's only able to do Nightmare. He can't even get to Ultra Nightmare. So hopefully with more resources and stuff, we can eventually get him to hard 10. And he's quit the game like a year and a half and came back. So if someone like that can do it, I think anyone can if they really, focus.
Yeah, I agree. If somebody's focused, if somebody's, knows what to do and puts in the work and effort, that's going to be fine. Again, my argument is that it's just not right that players, I mean, again, there are players that have been playing for a while and don't have the best RNG luck, right? Let's face it. It's you need the RNG to be in your favor sometimes to be able to get that gear. And especially if you're free to play, there's a lot of players that aren't currently at that stage where they can, 1-key Ultra Nightmare. But that's my argument, is I don't think it's right for the players that have been playing for a while, that, don't wail out, that haven't pulled the right champions, that haven't had the right type of gear. If you've gone months without pulling, or years without pulling a Maneater or a Demetha, you're pretty much kind of gated by that stuff.
Wrong as fuck. They did Helicath. They did Helicath, a fusion. They're doing this fusion right now. Every year they've produced a 1-key Ultra Nightmare champion.
And if you're not, if you're not there at that current time,
anybody can complete a fusion. We already talked about this.
Right.
Anybody that hits Nightmare Clan Boss can get a Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss fusion done.
Depending on the time you started the game. If it was after Helicath, then you wouldn't have access to that.
Fusion. Then you can do this fusion that's literally right now.
Right, but you could do this, exactly. You could do this fusion, but then, you know, he's going to require legendary books.
They did Demitha guarantee weeks ago.
What if you didn't have the void shards?
That was your fault.
Is it though?
Like yes,
is it? Because it's a game.
Absolutely.
It's people enjoy playing it. Like, you know.
Okay, but like if you want to get these things, you have to have the resources to get them. It's the same in every single game. You go to do anything, if you don't have the check to do it, they're not gonna let you. If you want to go fight the last boss in Elden Ring and you're level 10, they don't care.
Yeah. All right.
That's how every game works. Meet the check, do the thing. Like they're not gonna just say, "Here you go, here you go." That's not how it works.
And I'm not saying to say "here you go." I'm just saying, look.
Fusions are one of the most accessible things in the entire game for getting champions, like bar none. And they've done 2 in the last year. They would produce a 1-key Ultra Nightmare team. 2, and before that, they did Santa.
2 in the last year, other than Helicath. Who are we talking about?
They did Helicath in this one that's literally happening in 4 days.
Okay, you're talking about this one. So,
you absolutely can, Twin. We talked about it in BLAZIN's last video. Like when you're sub-level 50, your point requirements are half of what they are of an endgame player. You will need like 1,000 points for all of the dungeons, and the most effective stage for dungeons is like stage 6 or 8, something like that.
I think it's like 15.
No, it's one of the single digits. Anyways, they're really comparable
for the dungeon divers, but yeah.
Like to do that on an early game account is actually easier than an end game account if you spent any amount of time on it, because they also give you a ton of shards up front. You just have to save them. Hell Hades starts every single one of his free-to-plays off with a fusion.
Yep.
Everyone.
Doing fusions when you're below 50, the point requirements are literally halved, or I think might even actually be a third. So they do make it a little bit easier for you, but it is going to require you to, you know, be a little disciplined.
If you just rip everything, you're not going to get it. That's the point. Like, they reward you if you were patient.
Yeah.
And that's what they do all the time.
But let's get into the next subject, which is the fusion itself. Let me see if I can pull it up here.
I'm excited for this one.
Oh my god, when they released it, I was looking at it and saying, "Oh my gosh, I have to work on all 3 of my accounts to get this."
I know, right? Like this one's like everyone was hoping like they did Nut, and they're like, "Man, I hope I can skip the next. I hope I skip the next." They're like, "Nah."
It's literally like as soon as they announced the fusion, I mean, we had already been in plan to do a guide about the fusion. That I was like, no, we need to do this like now, because this fusion is just too important to have, right? Or to miss out, I should say. Why is this not opening? There we go. All right, so Ermac. I've been calling him Trunkheart or Turnheart. I don't know. What do you guys call him?
I don't know his name. I don't even know what letter it starts with.
It's Emic Trunkheart.
Trunkheart.
All right.
So yeah, let's go through this guy. I mean, he is a Void Legendary HP champion, which I think they've been doing a lot more of the HP champions for the fusions, which is kind of great.
Nut not being an attack champion was so nice. Honestly, the fact that he's a defense champion is just like helps so much.
Yeah, so it's definitely nice to see them being a little more tanky of a champion, because they're easier to build. But his A1, I mean, we're getting book damage, which I don't know what his multipliers are. They haven't released that unless one of you guys knows something. But increases the value of, huh?
I said I'm gonna go with this is a waste.
Increases the value of all shield buffs by 25%. Also increases the value of any shield buffs on the ally with the lowest HP by 25%. So let me find out from you guys, PvE or PvP skill? Jay?
PvE. That
PvE?
sounds amazing for duo. Imagine if I had two champions, him and someone else. You know, Duchess, people don't know that Duchess can go with another champion and you can duo if you get enough of a shield and the other champion can take those hits. They never die. So imagine this, like, you know how like Brogni extends shields, right? Well, he brings a shield with the A2, right, trunk heart, and then he also extends that shield on his A1. So if you have bring a Valkyrie and him, they can just duo everything, and you just keep getting that shield indefinitely. Like that sounds kind of like a little baby Brogni in an A1. That sounds pretty good, in my opinion.
Yep, it's the only other champion we've seen that does that. That grows the shield. All like you can get a couple stacking shields, but this is the second champion since Brogni we've seen that can actually extend the size of his shield. So yeah. I'm super excited.
So I was kind of confused on this because they put damaged on his multiplier for it, and I'm like, okay, well, will we be able to stack that damage and increase the shield based on the damage he does? But I don't think that that's going to be the case for him. I think after looking into it and talking to a couple of other people in the background, it's just going to be the flat, 25%. But I don't know why the books are on the A1. 4 legendary books I think are kind of a waste.
How many does he take total?
What does it look like here? We got 2, 4, 7, 11, which is actually 11. Not that bad.
Yeah, no, that's not bad at all, to be honest. Like they're like 9's basically the minimum.
Yeah.
These days, especially when you're talking about a fusion. So I'm not offended at 11. Like they got to keep the average. So
yeah,
is what it is at that point.
Yeah. Days One, welcome to the stream, man. Guys, if you already don't know, Days One is a Twitch streamer. Make sure you guys go and follow him there over on Twitch. Great to hang out with. Also does a lot of account help for the community. So welcome to the stream, my man. So yeah, I mean, I'm interested to see how this is going to work with like a Necret, with the Brogni together. It's going to be really, really fun, especially because Necret just gives you this massive shield every time somebody attacks. So if he's just going with the A1 all the time, yeah, it's going to be kind of nice. So
especially if he does damage.
yes. If he can smack 2 while he's at it, because Helicath, his multipliers were pretty decent. And, him alone.
He's a defense champion, but yeah.
Yeah. But him alone can do some pretty decent damage. So yeah.
Yep.
His A2 attacks all enemies, places a shield buff on all allies for 30% equal to this champion's max HP for 2 turns. And then, if that's not enough, he is going to reduce all ally skills by 1 turn except for this champion. I read this on a 3-turn cooldown, and I was like, wow.
Give me it now.
I'm like, this skill alone just makes me want to do the fusion, right?
Yep.
But let's talk about this. PvE or PvP skill, Nacho?
Oh, PvE all day. I think this guy is gonna be absolutely insane in Hydra. Like, just Giga Chad insane, to be honest. On paper, when you think about it, right? If you take all of your mischief tanks that have 2-turn duration buffs, they now become 2-turn cooldowns.
Right.
So all of your max HP hitters go from 4-turn to 3-turn, and one of those rotations will probably go to a 2-turn if you make her fast enough, or him fast enough, relentless maybe, reflex maybe even. So now you're talking about 25 to 35% more effectiveness out of a lot of your champions. You're talking like an extra boost every turn. You know what I mean? Like 30% more boosting, 30% more decreased speeds. Like in a lot of these times, you have sections in your run where you have the buff maybe on like some of the champions, but some of your fast ones have run them off, or like you don't quite get them like 100% uptime. Maybe even with extenders, like Kimmy for instance. She puts increased speed for 2 turns on a 4-turn cooldown. So even with an extender, you have a turn of downtime. Now, if you bring an extender plus something that decreases cooldowns, and now you're extending as well, and so you can get an insane amount of sustain just through your buffs. And the amount of extra damage that produces can be huge. The potential there, I cannot wait to play with this champion.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Jay, what about you? PvE or PvP skill?
He's in thing.
He's
in the
when
thing.
you combine the
Jay, let's retry that again.
No, I was saying a PvE, but most likely if you combine the A2 and the passive, man, that's gonna be pretty. I'm surprised. Probably gonna see a lot of this guy in arena. So don't be shy from the two. And I mean, I have a Kaimar. You know, people have Yumekos. Imagine combining that with that. Like a whole turn is a big thing. There's a reason why people still use Penkeeper and Renegade. So just imagine that. Like now everybody has the opportunity to get a Void Lego. Like that's crazy. So
yeah. So
yeah. Out of nowhere, honestly, like just Void Fusion.
I mean, looking at the shield, I think most champions do like, what is it, a 20%? I want to say there's very minimal ones that give you anything much more than that, and this is 30% of his max HP. So if you build him with like 100k, that's a 30k shield. Most of your nukers are gonna, their shield bar, their HP bar is gonna be all shield, right? So it's going to provide a lot of sustainability for them. But yeah, I'm if you're, I'm very excited for this skill. Looking at it, I was like, okay, so he's already doing what Painkeeper does. He's, right off the bat, I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, you can now do an Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss team with a block damage and him, or somebody else who's got a 4-turn unkillable, and you can just go at a 1-to-1 speed, right? So that's why I'm saying, like, I feel like the one key part just kind of, but yeah. But yeah, now he's going to allow you to be able to get to that stage, right? So if you just had a Sir Nick and you were running a really slow damage dealer, this is going to open up so much more for you. But his A3 places an unkillable on all allies for 2 turns, also places a taunt and a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns. The value of the shield is equal to 30% of this champion's max HP. Again, so he's got a shield. He is going to be taunting and placing an unkillable, pending where you put him in the turn order for Clan Boss. He can be your stun target, right? So you will never have to worry about it. Granted, it might throw off a couple of things with the speed tune if you don't bring a block damage in, but you can bring in a 4-turn block damage on a 2-turn Sepulchral Sentinel can now come in, and she can basically keep you covered every single time because it's going to now, between his A2 and his A3, reduce down to a 3-turn, right? So, Jay, PvE skill or PvP skill? Okay.
Some people use some unique things with it.
Go ahead and restart that, Jay. You lagged on us.
Today's a lagging day, Sunday, huh?
Yeah, but, lazy Sunday for you.
Lazy Sunday. No, definitely PvE, but I wouldn't be surprised if people start throwing frost sets or something.
Still lagging.
like mainly PD, of course. Oh, mainly PD, of course. Yeah.
Okay. You said something about a frost set.
Yeah, using Frostbite or Frost because he's taunting would be pretty cool.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Didn't think about that, but Nacho, what about yourself?
Yeah, this is clan boss written all over it, right? Like we'll have that and probably some other forms of teams in the future that he works for. But we'll definitely see it in PvP also. We even saw Sir Nick make a pretty big comeback there for a while in the Mortu meta and stuff like that. And there's definitely all kinds of team like block damage, right? It's not quite as strong as block damage in Helicath, so I think the people that missed Helicath will have another opportunity here where it's like, oh well, they've hit me, but I didn't die, and now I'm gonna win anyways. So I think it's gonna see some kind of PvP play, but it's definitely mainly a PvE skill.
Yeah. Um, I mean, yes, it is going to be 100% for clan boss. Now, let me ask you guys, do you think he's going to start replacing UDK in live arena or arena in general? I'm gonna go ahead and start off with Thule.
Not UDK. I think what UDK is is extremely unique. I don't think this guy does anywhere near the same, to be honest. Directing single target hits it's steadily powerful, and a lot of people overlook it, especially in like team selection. Siphi users, for instance, they are so accustomed to their A1 going to who they want. Doesn't happen with UDK. Um, and so there's just a lot of situations like that where UDK is just like the king of the crop. There's nobody else that can take what he does and replicate it, really. I don't think even in the sustain department against like Rotos and stuff like that, ally protection and whatnot is not going to hold you up anywhere near as good as UDK is. So I think we will see play though. I like if he does damage and the shield's a respectable size, like you said, it's 30% of his HP. That's 30k shield. That's pretty big. Most nukers are hitting between 30 and 60k on their A1s, unless they've got some double hits, and then they start hitting a little bit more. But you're not going to hit 100k on an A1 most of the time, unless you like have some specific conditions like defense down started to land and stuff like that, right? So to have a 30k shield on your nuker also that reduces your cooldowns, and you know what I mean, like you can absolutely see this guy in PvP.
Yeah. Jay, what about you? What are your thoughts? Do you think he's going to replace UDK?
No, but definitely not. I mean, UDK is on every single plat defense. Like it's still in 2023, and we're almost next year, which is pretty crazy. But I definitely do some people trying to be kind of douches and putting both. I could definitely see how that could be annoying because even if he's taunting, well, you guys can hear me?
Yeah.
Even if he's taunting, right, and you attack him, one of the hits has to go to UDK. So he's unkillable, has a big ass shield on himself, and then he's forcing you to attack him, but you're still mitigating damage to UDK, who's probably in stone skin anyways. So you're reducing tons of it's just, to me, it just sounds annoying,
Yeah.
Throw Helicath in there
too.
Yeah, so I'm already imagining myself going Taras Marichka, this guy UDK, taunt, keeping the nice big meaty shield on there, UDK. Like I'm pretty sure that's going to be toxic as hell, and we're going to be seeing a lot of those defenses out there. But let's move into his passive, right? Which is, I mean, if he already wasn't powerful enough, this passive just makes it insane. When attacked while under a shield buff, has a 50% chance, books up to 75%, right, of increasing the cooldown on a random skill on the attacker for 2 turns. Occurs once per attack whenever an ally drops below 20% HP, increases the damage dealt by that ally by 20%. So let's take a step back and let's talk about the first part, right? Putting a random skill on cooldown when he's attacked. I mean, Jay, PvE or PvP skill? After you're done lagging, make sure you go on us. Okay, go ahead now and talk again because you just came back. Yep, you're back.
Welcome back to the land of the living.
You're still lagging.
You thought sheep was annoying? You know how annoying it is? Like, oh.
There we go. Now you're back.
No, but Scream's PvP. It's gonna be insanely overpowered, in my opinion.
Yeah. Nacho, what about yourself?
What was the first part again?
Putting the random skill on cooldown.
Oh yeah. So it doesn't really do anything in PvE. The only boss it does anything against is Eternal Dragon, which is cool, I guess. But all the minions in all of the boss fights don't have activated abilities whatsoever. Most of the bosses have pretty long cooldowns anyways. Like I guess in Dragon you could potentially infinitely stall him out. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. But in general, I don't. And actually, you can't reduce their cooldowns anyways. They're just immune to cooldown reducing effects. So, like a lot, like you just can't use it in PvE. And like I said, I think the only one you're actually gonna be able to use it on is Eternal Dragon. So, leaves PvP, I guess. But this screams PvP. Like this is something that allows this champion to bump up from the B tier into the A tier and into the bottom S tier, because they start showing much more versatility. Right now, we've had a champion that we've talked about. It's just slam dunk in all kinds of PvE content, and now we're saying they have PvP viability as well. You know, and they're only 11 books.
I'm surprised neither one of you said anything about the no cooldown on that part. That's like really that
multi hitters have fun.
What are you gonna do? Literally, what are you gonna do against them? Right? You're out there and he's literally, and you just have to put him in a shield set. Or have somebody in a shield set, right? Most of us run our neck reds either in a bolster set or, what is it, stone skin. But the heck with it. I'll if I'm not using him for my clan boss, yeah, you best be sure that he's gonna go into a bolster set right now. I'm gonna put my best bolster set on him and throw him right in my arena team, which is going to be insane. But let's talk about the rest of the passive, which is whenever an ally drops below 20% HP, increases the damage dealt by that ally by 20%. Now, this ally doesn't have to have a shield, right? They just have to take damage. If you're using him for clan boss and he's got 4 other teammates, each one of them is going to bring an extra 20% damage. I mean, it definitely screams out PvE, but let's ask the question. Nacho, PvE or PvP skill?
Definitely leaning more in towards, like you're saying, the unkillable clan boss situation. However, you have situations like Leo. I can't wait to use this dude with Leo. You telling me I get extra damage, and is it multiplicative or additive to his passive?
Wow. You know what? Yeah, Leo will be.
I can't wait to use Leo with this dude. And so, like, you'll have all kinds of Kitus, whatever the epic, You could see all kinds of stuff. Champions that revive at low HP. Like, is there anybody that revives exactly at 20%? Stuff like that. You could see a lot more of it. Or even champions that just go unkillable, like Skullcrown and Leo. I definitely think you'll see a lot of PvP play because of this, and in combination with the other stuff too, right? Like, he's bringing a lot for the team, so I can't wait to see this dude.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
I am definitely, that is insane. Jay, what about you? PvE or PvP skill?
Yeah, it's PvE. Screams, was it Fury set that people were using in Unkillable
Yeah,
comp? So now you basically get a free. You don't have to gear your champs like that.
yeah, that's true. That's true. 20% damage. It's almost the amount of damage you get by putting a weekend out, right? So now if you have weekend, or if you don't really need to bring weekend, you just bring a decreased defense, he's still going to be able to do the same amount of damage. But what I'm thinking is my Taras, right? If he's got enough buffs on him, that A3 comes down, it's going to be very hard for anybody to survive that with enough buffs on there. But and it's a 75% chance. I'm curious though. I don't think it brings up the damage with the books. I would love to see that. That would be insane. 45% extra damage. You'd see him in arena all the time. And then, he's got a solid aura of 30% in all battles, which is a really decent one, right? But let's talk about how difficult this season's going to be, because they're doing this as a hybrid fusion, right? And the one that sticks into my mind the most from hybrid fusions is Brogni. And that's not a job.
Easiest fusion in the world.
Jay, did you have the same sentiment?
No, because I don't have a Brogni.
What happened for you, Jay? How did you miss Brogni?
Player and play errored overnight, and I missed 15 fragments.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, and he's never been able to pull one yet.
It's literally never recovered.
Nope. And there are some people out there that have like a +4, like Mullet Reaver, right? And Jay.
Here you go though, BLAZIN. Before you get to all, there's the point requirements for Brogni, so you know how easy this fusion actually was. Okay.
Where'd you put it?
In the chat for this voice.
Oh.
There you go. So 3,000 points for the summon rush. Insane. 2,500 for the champ chase. 2,050 points for dungeon divers. Just oozing out requirement here. Dungeon.
Okay.
Or for the dungeon.
I definitely I agree with you. The right here, right now, those points for me to accomplish, or for a majority of the player base, is going to be fair.
All of the efficient methods for all of these haven't changed. They haven't changed.
The points have increased.
All of the methods that we use to complete fusions are the same ones we had then. Nightmare Clan Boss was already in the game. Stage 20 dungeons were already in the game. Champ training's been the same, and artifact enhancement didn't cost more.
Yes. Artifact enhancements have cost more. This last one, especially for Newt.
No, upgrading artifacts has costed more. And the artifact enhancement requirement for Brogni was less than the fusion we just had. The first event was 2,000 points. It was 2,000 points for the fragments, and then 3,300 for the other two. The Brogni fusion was extremely easy if you had resources. The big difference then was people weren't as prepared for fusions because they weren't doing them on such a cycle. Like now we get one every single month. You know when you're getting a fusion. Well, Brogni was not during that time.
Brogni was also the first fusion that they did that was a hybrid fusion, right?
Which is easier than a traditional fusion. There's 150. Absolutely, there's 115 fragments of every single rare in the thing. In a traditional fusion, there's 4. There's no extra. So every single epic that you have to fuse, you have 15% leeway.
But you're usually starting in a traditional fusion. You're usually starting with epic with rares, which you could sit there and try to go bananas and pull like 5,000 mystery shards in hopes to try to get some extra ones. So I totally disagree with you that the traditional fusions are easier than this. This is the
They also put
fusions.
fragments in the tournament rewards, so there's actually like going to be
Yeah, okay.
there's going to be like 150 fragments for every single epic available.
Okay, yeah. So that you mean to tell me that, one of my viewers here that's going to be going up against me in the bracket, who's aiming to try to get that, if I decide to go for it, doesn't stand a chance.
You're absolutely lying that you have to get the top place. You can get second.
You can get second, yes,
I
but
do it in most of the fusions, and you just pick an event. You're completely lying, and everybody that says so is lying, because I am in the Kraken brackets. Okay, every single event of mine is in the Kraken bracket. I will show you my Champ Chase tournament right now is at 57,000 points for this Kaimar. Okay. Meanwhile, my tag team arena tournament, I'm winning it with 6,000.
yes,
There are all kinds of tournaments during the fusion and during the week that are not Kraken brackets, even if you are a Kraken.
But you also, we have to admit that these events can be sniped just like that, right?
No, because farming something like Ice Golem or Arena is the closest you can get. Champ Training, maybe, but there's one Champ Training tournament in each one of the fusions usually. And most people aren't pushing Champ Training tournaments.
Okay.
To be honest. So, like, the amount of things that you can win like that are very few. To win a dungeon tournament takes several hours if you have a 500 to 800 point lead on somebody.
Right.
Like,
so the dungeon tournaments are a little easier for you to try to win as long as you're on top of it. But those are way more resource intensive, if you ask me. Now,
it depends. So like the biggest thing that at least in a lot of the previous fragment fusions, right, they offer 5 per dungeon that you do, right? And then they offer 5 if you win the tournament, right? So basically if that top reward costs you less than 2,500 energy, it's more effective for your energy, assuming you have that accessible to you, to just push for the fragments now. And then use daily energy later and skip a different event or whatever, because they always double dip you somewhere. Like we were talking about with the video we just took. They took the dungeon and champion training every single time. So if you won your dungeon, you could skip the top part of champion training perhaps and use a lot less energy on that end, depending on which your resource look. Or you skip the Fire Knight later and you do that champ training with your daily energy. So you just have to pick one along the way, and you can make educated decisions on what is effective for you to go to. But you need to understand how much that is actually worth, right? So if it gives you 5 fragments and every dungeon event is giving you 5, it's worth about 2,500 energy. If they're at 3,300 points, it's better for you to push for that if you can get it in a reasonable manner, right? There's always if that about it, but that's the raw math about it, okay? So you just need to be smarter. Like even you just need to save the resources that they give you to use them at the point that it matters. I mean,
right. Yeah, and I can see that. It's just like and it's only again for those events, right? And it really depends on how much you want to push, how much you're going to invest in it. But, what I wanted to bring up is, you see, I got the newt skin, right? I literally did not do a single thing until 2 hours prior to the champ chasing ending. And I literally bursted 40,000 points. First place was at 29. I overtook him and won. Right, so it literally, you have to be on top of it, and that's the other thing is it's a huge time commitment to try to keep yourself on top of it, especially with resources.
The only tournament I've ever been sniped like in my entire life was the Chris tournament. Like the amount of times people actually get sniped is so rare, dude. Like honestly, it doesn't happen all that time. Like since the Chris tournament, there's been an uptick. Because there were tons of people that were like, oh, I have 60,000 burst points. I'm going to use them right at the end and blah, 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 blah. And the other thing is, are you going to drain your account right now for this fusion event? Probably not.
No. Well,
So
I
like
mean,
that's my point. Like the people aren't gonna just drop these kinds of resources for nothing. Like you did it for a nut skin. You didn't do it for any of the fusion fragments before because they weren't worth it. You did it
some
for
of
the
them,
nut skin
some of
because
them
it
I
was
did.
worth it.
Some of them I
Like
did on
you
the.
didn't just drop 40,000 champion training tournament points in the middle of a fusion to get 5 fragments, and you are lying if you said otherwise.
No, I did because I was sitting on way too much food and I needed to open up space for summoning.
That wasn't in spite of that wasn't in spite to win it
No,
then. Like
it wasn't in
you
spite,
were
but
taking
yeah,
care of months of backup, and that's not a
yes.
snipe at the end either. So
No,
again, there's a lot of if, ands, or buts and whatevers about every single thing in this freaking game, but that doesn't change the math behind it. And the occurrence of things happening is so few and far between. Like to say that I should never do any tournament that somebody is at 3,300 points just because they might put up 400 more points.
well,
That's just a terrible mentality to have. If you never go for it, you'll never have it either.
that's true. That's true. I feel like Jay wants to come in here and say something right now. If he stops lagging.
Maybe we just see the blank stare. It's just the disappointed stare.
Yeah, the look on his face is just like, I'm ready to say something, and
These fucking dudes, just shut up.
Jay, you have something you want to say? All right, welcome back to Jay.
You guys can
There
hear
we
me
go.
now?
He's
You
back.
guys hear me now?
Hey,
Now
he's
we
back.
I don't know why he keeps doing that. No, I just been listening and just like it's a little bit of rant, but it's justifiable to a degree. Like at the end of the day, you prioritize what you want to prioritize. You like people get upset about a lot of little things, but it's like it's your choices. Some people want me to do ultra Nightmare Hydra. I'm still doing brutal. It's my choice to play the game. I play it how I want. So, I mean, when it comes to this stuff, you just gotta be smart with what you want to do. My time right now is investing in little, creating other epics and doing other.
You just got back
Close.
up.
Oof.
Jay, I think you need to move out of Arkansas to somewhere a little cooler.
You hear me now?
Now we
There you
can.
go.
Okay.
Did you kick the satellite? Is it working better now?
I don't know, honestly. Maybe I should just get on my phone if you guys would rather. Appreciate it.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, just my thought on it is you can't, unless you're going to take the investment early on and be ahead of it and watch it, because that's the other thing is you got to sit there and you got to watch the event if you're gonna go for it, right? So you got to keep on it. But I usually don't count the extra points unless like I already obtained them. So I don't count going for them. I try to do it with the minimal amount of resources possible. But so now we've got this Artak Path of Vengeance, and we're coming up to the last day. We got 12 hours left, and I know myself and Nacho touched up on it a little bit, but let's really dive into this, right? Compared to the other ones that they've done, or the other one that they did do for Razovog, which one do you guys prefer more? This one or the Razovog one? Nacho.
I definitely prefer this one. Razovog made more sense when the fusion just finished, right? But Artak's somebody that we've had for a while, and people have invested this side or the other into already. So it's nice that the people that have already enjoyed this champion don't get punished for it, right? So that's nice. However, it does cost a good step up from what the Razzlefark did. I think I spent 170 mil silver and then daily energy to do this event. I was fortunate I had 300 mil silver sitting there, but I no longer do, and I couldn't do another one of these if I wanted to. So I think that was good. I think if you didn't want the souls, I think the return for investment was pretty good. Like even if you just wanted the 2 epic books and the oils out of it, I don't think it was that inaccessible. You could have spent like 50 mil, 75 mil maybe, got yourself 2 books, a couple ores, and all the oils and stuff in there. So I think the exchange rate that we're getting for our silver is pretty decent on that end. And then they kind of gave us a little bit of value for souls again. I think we're starting to see more and more of them, which is good. In general, like we've talked about before, like they introduce content in the most watered down version that we're gonna see it most of the time. So giving us rewards for soul stones is the first thing that they've started to do finally. So they've rewarded us for hoarding them through a couple of the events, and now you've got this, right? And I think you get a little bit more out of this than either of the previous soul events. And they're going to look at their own data about all of it and maybe re-event. Like they've done 3 different kinds of events now, right? Yep. I'm sure that those were all probably made at the same time, right? Like likely. They're like, okay, we're going to introduce some soulstone events.
It's just copy and paste.
Right, yeah, you know what I mean? And they just want to like test a couple different formats and see how people will pull them, if people were happy about it maybe even, and like just in general feedback, right? Like any good company will. And then maybe in a month or two we'll see another series of these events where maybe we get more rewards for it. And I think they do a good job of upticking the amount of rewards for the resources that we get. In general, like they go through, like they do it so well that when they remove it, people complain a lot, right? So we but in general, like I keep using champ training a lot. They've improved champ training events in 10. Like it used to be just a Lego book on the top and like an epic book, and now there's like soul stones and ores and chests and the Lego book, all for like maybe an extra 1,000 points. So we'll definitely see them go up with it. I'm excited. I like this one a lot more.
Yeah, you know what? Let me throw Jay in this before he starts lagging out on us.
Before he starts freaking out, yeah.
Okay, you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so yeah, pretty much. When they started doing the soulstones, I was kind of scared because I was like, man, what if they like start doing soulstone rushes during like fusions or fragment summons? So I've been hoarding for a long time, but for this attack, I was like, I gotta go for it, man. Even though I've been behind on it, don't have that much silver, so I basically unloaded like 150 immortals, 10 like immortals, and I didn't get the 3-star. I'm almost to the 3-star attack, but because I don't have enough silver, but I'm gonna try to do it today. But I think it's very good. I just don't like they increase the prices of the. I understand he's a more valuable champ, but it's too expensive in my opinion.
Yeah, this is so inaccessible, honestly. Like it was nice for the people that had like a Giga Chat amount of silver saved, sure, but the amount of people that had soulstone saved either were just not enough, and they didn't give you enough points for the small. They give you 100 points for the small stones. Like, are you kidding me?
So I kind of went into this and I said, okay, I'm just going to try to go for as much of it as I can. And I probably popped 30 immortal. No, which ones are the small ones? Yeah, 30 mortal and about 3 immortal and 1 eternal soulstone that I got from completing my faction wars, right? And I just used my daily energy to farm Spider. And probably leveled maybe 20 pieces total, 216 that I had. Everything else has been keeping my gear that I've been farming up for the past, couple of days. I crafted a bunch of gear. I've been leveling it to 4-star, then to 8-star. I have not had to put that many resources into completing this. I really, really loved this event, because it gave us a choice, right? You could go strictly for the 2-star if you wanted to. If you had the 2-star like I did, you could go for the 3-star, or if you had the 3-star, you could go for the 4-star, and so on and so forth, right? So it really gave us a lot of chances to try to go for what we really wanted, which I really loved. Compared to the Rousevog Fusion, I mean, the Rousevog Fusion, again, was all or nothing, right? You had no choice. If you missed out on it, if you were short points, you couldn't just get a smaller one. So I really loved the fact that they took this route with it. And they, I mean, I think and hope that they do this for the next one. As for, time wise, it was 7 days, right? So we weren't really in a time crunch. You could go and you could start, using your daily energy and stuff like that. And as for me, I mean, I was looking at a lot of the current events that were going on for the turn attack and all that. And the rewards weren't really worth it for me compared to the long term if I just invested my energy and time into this, right? Yes, I could have, I did farm some of the Fire Knight, right? I did stage 10 hard mode. But overall, I mean, I feel it was fairly accessible if you just use your daily energy, if you, thought about and prepared wisely to try to get this done, and you didn't really have to go all out. I haven't used any gems. I haven't done anything too crazy. Like I said, I crafted some gear out of my forge, which I had, 10,000 pieces here of ore, so I kind of needed to get rid of it, right? Because I wasn't I was holding on to too much of it. But I just, I felt like this event was really great, and I really, really hope that they do more based the same way. Julie, you got something you want to say? Or Nacho?
I'm just glad that they so like I was actually just watching a video on Diablo Immortal the other day, and they they do a really good job of like making you go through a ton of different currencies to like hide the real price of something, right? I'm really glad that Raid's like pretty upfront with how they're gonna do their events. You know what I mean? They're like, well, this is it. If you want it, this is how much it costs. You know what I mean? I'm glad that they aren't doing so many events that are like the champ training. Like obviously they're still doing a few of them, like the champ training tournaments for champions and stuff like that. I'm glad that they're, even if they are doing high point requirements for a lot of these, for the people that are prepared for them, they do get rewarded, which is good. And I like the flexibility that they've been doing with this for sure, like you were saying. But yeah, that's just the main thing. Like I'm glad that they aren't like double hiding it behind stuff. Even if they do want a lot for it, I'm glad that they are just saying we want a lot for it. I think that's fine.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, Raid is, for the most part, and unfortunately, we don't get the fusion calendar in preparation in advance to know what to do, right? We get it the day of. We used to get it before. We used to get it a couple of days before, so you'd be able to plan everything out, and know that if you were going to go for the fusion, which is kind of something I wish they would bring back, but they're pretty upfront to letting you know if you're going to be screwed or not with an event, right? If they're going to require too many points, and they're, you got to give them to that. They're upfront about it. They're not going to BS you, with the exception of the fusion, right? They'll sometimes they will get you behind certain things if you're not prepared. And I know Nacho's about
We
to
still have
call me out on that.
we just have variance. Like there's
Yeah.
absolutely variance within the fusions, and that's how they try and catch you, right? Like flat out.
Yeah. So, but yeah, overall, I mean, my opinion on this, I give it a 2 thumbs up. I don't know about you guys, but I really liked it. And you were right. You guys were right. It did give you some thought. If you didn't want to go for too much, you could go down for the oils. You could go down and get the epic book, or you could go down one side and pick something. But it gave you an opportunity to be able to do something. I do want to touch up on the points for the soul stones, though. I mean, 100 for a mortal soul stone is garbage. I think they need to bump that up, especially because how many points we get, or how many few of those we get. And wow, we have YSC in the house. Welcome. Thank you for joining us, sir. How are you doing today? But yeah, I'm a real big fan of this event. It did give us multiple avenues that we could go through. And so I hope that they continue to do this, So real quick though, before we finish up today's stream, let's talk about this champion chase. I know you said yours was at like 50K. This morning I got up. Soul Maniac was first at 15,000, and now we have this guy Vanish coming in at 44K. Now when when I saw this event coming out, I said, guys, don't pull, don't even try. You're gonna get sniped unless you're a whale. Don't even try. I think I pulled a couple of different little voids that I had, and that was it. I was not going for it. I was like, it's a 2x. I think I got like 4 voids, 5 voids. I'm just gonna use that just to say that I pulled something, right? But are you guys a fan of the way they do these champion rewards for the for the champion chase? Is it something that you care for, or is it just something like, yeah, whatever, some whale's gonna come in and snipe it from me, so I don't even bother? Nacho, I'll let it go to you first.
I am a whale and I don't like these events. I'd much rather them just say, here's a Kaimar, do 250,000 champ training points. Like,
Yeah.
I'd much rather them just say, I want an insane, obnoxious amount of effort from you, and here's the champion. I hate these events that much because it's like, I understand why they're doing it. They're getting like a whale race, but in the end of the day, the whales don't even race on this event. Like, you're going to pull however, like the guys that pulled 43K, that's like 350 void shards. That's like the void string and like most of the voids they offered this month, as far as like efficient ones. So like
Yeah.
the guys that are going to do that, like, there's a ton of them, and as far as whales go, like voids are the only thing we care about. Like,
Yeah.
I like the chance to get affinity champions is not worth the money compared to what you can get for void Legos. Like, even empowerment wise, you just start getting
Yeah.
empowerments for the champions you care about from voids. So whales spend on voids. So when you put rewards behind voids, it's like you have to be a kraken to even consider it. It's kind of a joke. Like, it's $1,000 on voids this weekend.
Well, so here's the thing I see, right? Like my account already has both on my main and my alt. I already have 2 Kaimars, right?
Mhm.
And you're right on the fact that endgame players, whales, are gonna go after the voids because they want the Tauruses, they want the Marichkas, they want the really
Right.
super OP void legendaries. And so they're gonna end up winning these events. It just matters if you have 1 Kraken or 2 Krakens in your category, and they're gonna go at it. So, I think for most players, like these events aren't really worth it. I see Jay here wants to say something.
Yeah, I have a viewer who actually
If you could say that without the lag, Jay, we'd really appreciate it.
Calling Jay. I am glad that they do lower. I am glad that they do a couple different tiers at least.
Yeah. Go ahead now, Jay. You don't seem to be lagging.
okay now.
Yep.
I had a viewer who actually came to my channel yesterday and wanted me to pull for Kaimar, and they
Now you lagged. Oh. Um. You're still lagging, my man.
oh,
All
we'll just
right.
wait
Let's try that now.
then. This torture.
Okay.
You want me to go now?
Yep. Go ahead.
So I had a guy come to my channel, basically want me to pull for Kaimar, right? I was pulling tons of void shards. His name is I Want Kaimar. And every single time I pulled like 20 or 25, he kept logging off and saying, get back on, I got 25, 50 more. I did it like 4 times.
Wow.
It was crazy, yeah.
Uh.
But he was actually going for Taras, but we didn't get nothing good.
Yeah, and see that's what I mean is there's going to be that random person that's going to come in and just kind of mess your day up and be like, "Yep, nope, it's mine now." So
Well, yeah. Like I was just saying though, like the 43K points, that's about $1,000. So I mean,
yeah,
you think about anybody that's like got any kind of respectable job and they want to drop a bunch of money on their hobby, you know what I mean? I don't think that level of money is that unreasonable to actually get, but that just shows like how accessible to get that many points is and how unrealistic a lot of people are that are not going to reach that, right?
Right.
So like you can work a fairly decent job and be able to have that for your hobby, but if you work a middle job or a lower job, like you definitely can't afford that for your hobby. And so like a lot of those classes of people are like right next to each other, just right next to each other as far as like payment wise. We're just talking a couple $100 this week, this way or that way, but it's just like it's crazy how not achievable these are. Like even for me, like I don't even think about these. Like $1,000, that's like 4 months of what I've spent on the game recently. You know what I mean? 5 months, and like I've bought a void string every once in a while. I've bought some energy. Like the CBC I just did, I had used 20,000 gems that I saved over the last 4 months, and then I had 85,000 in the inbox that I saved from 2.5 months ago again. You know what I mean? Because it just that's how it worked out. But to go for these is crazy.
Yeah.
It's just crazy to like say that I'm gonna do this and then I'm also gonna do that and then I'm also gonna do that and then that and then it's like wow.
Yeah, it looks like Jay's sleeping on us. I think he's pretty much lagged out right there. But I'm just a fan of let's do it the way you did the RTAC chase, right? They did Tutura the same way. I thought that was great. Even though that might have been a little capped behind. I think what was
I
it,
forgot about
20
that.
sacreds or something like that.
Yeah,
I
it was
really,
super high, but they were like, yeah, here you go.
yeah, I really like those. I really like those events that way. And I'm even fine with the champion training ones, like the Kresk or the one we just had for Tatsu. But the ones when they're gated behind the shards, it's like, don't even try. I had Infinite in one of my events that I had for, what was it? We had a Void one a while back on 2x Voids. They were going for, yeah, I forget who the champion. Oh, it was why can't I remember his name right now? But I have him too. We had Theodore, right? When Theodore first came out, they did him on a 2x Voids and stuff. And I had Infinite in my in my bracket, and first thing, got up in the morning, boom, popped 400 shards. I was like, golden. I've got like 55k points. I'm all set. And next thing I know, 2 hours later, Infinite sitting at like 130,000 points, and I was like, all right, well, yep, that was it for me.
GG.
Once that happened, I was kind of like, okay. But welcome Oliver to the stream. Thank you for joining us. So for anybody here, I'm going to give you guys a couple more minutes. I will put this in the chat. If you go to this YouTube video and just leave a comment, we will be giving away 2 of the monthly gem packs. So if you want to be entered in, I'll give you guys about 5 minutes, let's say, to go in, leave a comment, and put you into the drawing for the monthly gem pack to help you guys get this fusion. But so while we wait for that, let's talk about what your plans are for the week. Nacho, what are your plans for the rest of this week until the fusion starts?
I've actually just been working on Fire Knight 10 teams. Yesterday I was working on Ricardiel replacements, and I actually got 5 different teams that worked without Cardiel. Yep. So that was nice. We had a couple double ally attacks, martyr teams, skull crusher team, and a few things. So probably gonna try and refine a few of those, see if we can get them a little better to 100%, so we can present it.
Okay. Listen, even at like 90-95%, I know it might be some wasted resources, but it's still not a bad investment to have, compared to not being able to do it, period. But so yeah, I guess make sure you guys go subscribe to Nacho's channel. known on YouTube as Personal Tool. He has not switched that over yet, but make sure you guys go follow him. So as soon as one of those videos drop, you can check it out. And Jay, what about you? What are your plans for the week until the fusion starts? Hopefully not lagging.
I'm saving all the energy. I don't really want anything. So
you're not doing anything. You're just saving all the energy. You're gonna hoard it up. You're just gonna wait. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So for me, I'm planning on, I want to finish the RTAC event here. Other than that, it's I got to do a gear cleanse unless Nacho wants to do a gear cleanse for me. I'm sitting on like 1,300 pieces.
Just go finish a sponsorship, easy.
How many more? How many more do you need?
Like 20, 30?
20 more. If you have a link for it, drop it on in the chat. Make sure people can go there and help you out with the sponsorship. And what are you doing? Are you giving away a gear cleanse or?
Yep. If you get a rank 5 hero, a level 5 Grey Hall, and rally and attack on a zombie horde, then you can post the. I'll get a link from my Discord too. If you post the requirements in the Discord, then I will owe you a gear cleanse. Easy peasy.
And just real quick, how long of an investment do these lovely ladies and gents have to do to receive that?
It's about a half hour, and the easiest way for the rank 5 heroes is to spend $5, I think. So,
okay. So
other than that, it's like if you want to get the rank 5 hero, I think it's like 3 hours. So
okay. So you can now. Is there a cap on how many pieces of gear you're going to gear cleanse, or are you just going to do everything?
I will do one whole side of your gear, either gear or accessories, up to 1,300 pieces, and I'll sell up to 400 of them. So, but I'll go through the whole side. If I sell 400 before I'm done, it's over. But if I don't, we'll go through every single piece.
Okay. So as Jay can tell you, Jay for a while was in charge of doing my gear cleanses because I just did not want to do it at all whatsoever. And, I think he spent 4 or 5 hours some days on a weekly basis gear cleansing my gear. Taking, that half an hour, 2 hours investment to try to get it. And by the way, if you use BlueStacks and multi, you could get 2 or 3. Just saying. So then that might be, a full gear cleanse for the next couple of months. Matter of fact, you know what? I think I'm going to go do that.
It's like what was that link again?
I don't see the link unless you want to DM it to me. I don't see the link in the chat.
It's the streams.net puzzles/tool50.
Oh no, I meant put it in the YouTube chat. Sorry.
I did.
I don't see it.
What's
Yeah. I see mine, and then I don't see anything else from you. But
unless you have links blocked from people.
Maybe. You know what? Send it over to the chat, and I'll go in and get it real quick.
And there's the Discord too.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Now we should be back. All right. So let's go ahead. Make sure you guys go to that right there, and that'll give you everything you need to know about this. Get yourself your free gear cleanse for minimal time of investment. Again, I would definitely use BlueStacks. He needs 20 left. And you could basically not have to do a gear cleanse for quite some time if you use BlueStacks and multi-stack.
So they are good forever. There's no expiration. You want it in 6 months, I'll have you on the list, and I'll check you off when you ask for it.
Yep,
literally.
And you have this video as proof. So, and I don't take it down. So that is a binding contract, sir. You are done.
Yep.
All right. So let's get into the giveaway real quick. All right. So we'll refresh the video. Let me grab the link. All right. So we got the YouTube video. We are going to filter out duplicate users, right? We don't want people 4 plus, that's it. Yeah, 4 plus 6 equals 10. That is old school math, people. That's how you do it. All right, let's get our YouTube comments. We got.
You're telling me you didn't carry the bottom of the 4 first? Like, what do you mean?
yeah, I totally did not do any of that. All right, so we got 35 unique comments. And just before, I pull everything, I just want to say, guys, I appreciate you all. Hopefully, after the giveaway is done, most of you end up staying and you're not just here for the giveaway, because we do lots of these on the channel, and we do a lot of other things. I just finished the Chronum giveaway for the last player that I won it for my 1,000 subscriber mark. So, that was like 2 months of investment, and that was hard. Have you guys got Chronum yet?
No.
No?
Nope, I'm all set. I don't need him. I don't need him. I played with him. I don't need him. I'm good. I'll figure it out without him.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was a huge time, and I'm not gonna lie. I mean, the Call of the Arbiter stuff came just in time. Mobile player without blue stacks. Oof, that is tough to get Chronum that way too.
It was a grind.
That is commitment, sir. That is commitment. All right, so let's get into this. Let's pull the 2 winners. All right, Jamie Zepida is the first winner. So we've got 1. Congratulations. And do we know what his comments is? I hope I still have a chance to win. Great video. So I'm guessing he was one of the ones that came in today. So we got 1 more. Let's go and let's see. Happy has won, and his comment is, thank you for the video and the recommendations for the prep. So these 2 gentlemen, I will put the comments into the community tab. Make sure that you guys DM me in Discord, right? So we can get you your rewards as quickly as possible. You want to try to get them as quickly as possible so you can stack up on the gems. So congratulations to those 2 guys. Do not reply to anybody on YouTube that says you won something and that has my logo or anything. It is going to be a scam. You will always DM me. I will give you a number that I have. You will post it on the video, and you will get your prize. So, Discord crashed. I believe it looked like Discord crashed. So, okay. Before we, start getting off, for the rest of the week, Jay, do you have a shout out? I'll let you lag first and then come back and then give me the shout out. But all right, I think Jay has lagged out too. Tool, are you coming back for the end? All right, Jay, you look like you moved a little bit over there. All right, there we go. Now you're back.
Shout out to the women thing. Can you hear me?
Yep. Now we can hear you.
Shout out to the women thing who's always in my chat and Discord. They're always, trying to push. They went from a mid game account straight to Brutal Hydra within 2 months, which was insane. Just by listening to what I say and following things. So that's crazy. Most players can't even get to hard Hydra.
Nice. Congratulations to that person. Tuli, unfortunately, not DQ, but disconnected from us. But his is going to go out to actually a unit brother of mine, Pogo Pingtai. We actually both work for UPS, although we're totally opposite. I'm East Coast, he's West Coast, but it's going out to him for being unique and having fun with the game. And I gotta say, I've had Pogo on the channel. He is a fun guy to chat with. It is an awesome time to hang out with him and watch him in Twitch. So, but mine is going to go actually to again a viewer of mine. I've been doing a lot of work on this viewer's account, and I've shouted him out multiple times. I just want him to know that the community's here. Your account is in good hands. Don't worry. I will treat it as my own. And whenever you're ready to come back and take over, it's here. And my shout out's actually going to go to Steven, right? So just know, sir, that we're all here for you. Now, that said, guys, it is the end of the show. So I personally appreciate every single one of you that tune in. Make sure you go to Twitch and follow both Jay and Tool, or Nacho. Sorry, I got to get out of that habit. And then make sure you follow these gentlemen both on their YouTube channels. Great content creators, great guys to have fun with. So, as always, guys, much fun, much appreciation. Be safe, be well, be good to each other. We'll catch you guys on the next one.